The first story was sent by someone who said they'd waited years to talk about this, mostly because it sounded too ordinary. No monsters, no blood, just a slow realization that someone had been far closer to them than they should have been. They were living alone at the time, renting a small duplex on a quiet residential street, the kind of neighborhood where nothing really happens. Kids rode bikes during the day. Porch lights came on at dusk. Everyone seemed to know everyone. Their unit was on the left side of the building. One bedroom, one bathroom, a narrow kitchen, and a living room that faced the street. The bedroom window faced the backyard, which was separated from the neighboring property by a sagging wooden fence. For the first few months, everything felt normal. Then they started noticing the door. Every morning when they left for work, they locked it, deadbolt and handle. Every evening when they came home, the deadbolt was unlocked. At first, they assumed they were forgetting. Rushing out, distracted. It happens. But one night before bed, they tested it, locked the door, pulled on it to make sure. Then they placed a small piece of tape across the doorframe, just barely noticeable. In the morning, the tape was torn. The door was unlocked. They checked for signs of forced entry. Nothing. No damage, no missing items. They called the landlord, who assured them no one else had a key except maintenance and no one had been inside. The unease grew slowly, subtly. Things weren't missing, but they were different. A chair angled slightly toward the bedroom. The shower curtain pulled closed when they always left it open. The TV volume set lower than they remembered. One night, they woke up around 3 a.m. with the overwhelming feeling that someone was in the room. They lay still, heart pounding, listening. Nothing. Then they heard it. A slow, quiet exhale. Not from their chest, from the dark corner near the closet. They squeezed their eyes shut, convinced if they didn't move, whatever it was would leave. After a long moment, the sound stopped. They didn't sleep again that night. The next day, they installed a small motion camera in the living room, aimed at the front door. Nothing fancy, just something to give peace of mind. The first night, the camera recorded movement at 2:17 a.m. When they watched the footage the next morning, their hands started shaking. The video showed the front door slowly opening. A man stepped inside. He moved carefully, confidently, like he'd done this before. He walked straight down the hallway and disappeared into the bedroom. The recording ended there. The timestamp showed he'd stayed for over an hour. The police were called, locks were changed, an investigation followed. They later learned the man had been living in the crawlspace beneath the duplex, entering through a loose panel in the backyard. He'd been watching them for months. The second story came from someone who worked late nights at a call center. The building was large, windowless, and brightly lit, even at 2 or 3 in the morning. Most nights, there were only a handful of employees. Voices echoed through the halls, chairs rolled softly, phones rang sporadically. One night during a lull, the caller ID lit up with an internal number. They answered. No one spoke. They assumed it was a dropped call and hung up. A few minutes later, the phone rang again. Same number. They answered again. This time they heard typing. Slow, deliberate. They asked who it was. The typing stopped. Then a voice whispered, "Don't hang up." They froze. The voice continued, low and calm. "I can see you from here." They scanned the room. No one nearby, just empty desks and glowing monitors. They asked where "here" was. The line went dead. Moments later, the lights above them flickered. A message appeared on their screen. "Behind you." They didn't turn around. They stood up, walked straight to the exit, and didn't stop until they reached their car. Security footage later showed something unsettling. During the call, every camera in the building briefly went offline. All except one. The one pointed at their desk. The third story came from a man who said he never believed in intuition until the night it saved his life. He was driving home from visiting family, taking a back road he'd driven countless times before. It was just after midnight. No traffic, no street lights, just his headlights cutting through the darkness. About halfway through the drive, he noticed someone standing on the side of the road. A woman. She looked disoriented, waving her arms. He slowed down. Something felt wrong. She was smiling. Not relieved, not scared, smiling like she was expecting him. He kept driving. In his rearview mirror, he saw her step into the road behind him. A few minutes later, his phone rang. Unknown number. He didn't answer. The phone rang again and again. When he finally answered, the line was silent. Then a familiar voice spoke, his own. It said, "You should have stopped." The call ended. The next day, he saw the news. A man had been found murdered on that same road, less than a mile from where he'd seen the woman. His car had stopped. He still doesn't drive at night anymore. And sometimes when his phone rings from an unknown number, he hears his own voice breathing on the other end.